Hello, welcome back to the Villa View. It's time for a match preview as Villa travel to Leicester on Tuesday night in the Premier League, looking to continue their excellent run. And Leicester, of course, now going to be under new management, albeit temporarily. I'm your host, Dan Bardell, joined by Neil Dunworth, and the show is sponsored by Luke Roper. If you want to get 20% off, use the code TVV20 and you'll get 20% off everything they have to offer. Neil, fast turnaround. We're just saying I don't like it when there's a Saturday game and a Tuesday game in terms of producing content, because I've only just done the post-match point last night, and now we're here for a match preview, and we're not going to do a Stato preview show, but we are going to try and entwine some of the stuff that he comes up with into this one. I don't know whether Neil knew that, but I'm telling you now, Neil, if you didn't know. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I suppose it's a juxtaposition, really, Dan, because we often talk about if you have an international break, that the glass off good performances could be taken off very easily, and then when we have a situation where there's a 48 to 72 hour turnaround, you're always worried that maybe the legs aren't fully recovered, because there was a lot of running done against that Chelsea team to keep, as John McGinn said, the shape work that they've done that they were trying to work on that even in game as well. But coming up against this Leicester team, they're in a bit of, I'm going to say it, they're in a bit of turmoil manager wise, and
in every way possible at the moment, I think.
Yeah, and there's an ill feeling around the club at the moment. They're not going to have somebody in obviously before the game in midweek. I haven't read who's going to look after the
Mike
team.
Stowell, former Wolverhampton Wanderers goalkeeper, and
Well,
some guy that sounded like Adam Sandler, but it was actually Adam Sadler.
Adam Sadler.
They're the two that are in charge for the game.
Well, the way the Hollywood people are cropping up at football
Well,
clubs
yeah,
at
you
the
never
moment,
know.
it could be Adam Sandler, it could be on a bench. Yeah, but it's no. Look, and as I look, I presume there's going to be some sort of continuity there with what Brendan Rodgers was doing. Let's just hope they don't have the Aaron Danks effect that we had, and let's hope that they have it against that they have the Danks effect that he brought against Newcastle as opposed to the one against Brentford, because we could do it winning this, Dan, because 2 points off sixth. And I know there's games in hand, but we play this game today or tomorrow night, then we play on Saturday, and I know putting the cart before the horse here with two games, and Villa being Villa, where there is a high propensity that we will not win both of these games, although I'm on the crest of a wave, so I'm going to predict that we will. That really puts us in a really strong position, but you have to beat the team that's put in front of you first, and Leicester are there now.
Well, Liverpool, I think, are top six at the moment. Their next two games are Chelsea. Who knows what's going to happen with them, what the effect of their managerial change will be. And then they've got Arsenal. So at the moment where we sit a point off Liverpool, with the two games we have, Leicester away and Forest at home, there's every chance that we could end up above them and really pushing Liverpool. Of course, I've got that wrong. They're eighth, not sixth. Got myself confused there. But I was saying about it not being good for podcasts, having this quick turnaround of games. But in terms of the way Villa are at the moment, you do want as many games as possible because they are playing so well. And I feel like everyone's just in it at the moment. The players are in it. They're on it. The fans are all as one as well. Everything's coming together. Everyone's singing off the same hymn sheet, as that old saying goes. And that quick turnaround of games probably is helpful for Villa. Leicester playing in front of their own fans, I think it won't be as toxic as perhaps it would have been under Rodgers, but they're not happy with how their club is in general. It's not just the manager that they've got a problem with at the moment. And I do think it's one of those where, again, I've said it a few times recently, we get ourselves ahead, the crowd will turn and it becomes a difficult place for home players to play. I've said that a few times in a few games recently. We get ourselves ahead, keep that lead. We've got every chance of doing something. In the way we are away from home at the moment, the record is absolutely outstanding. There's every chance we can do that now.
Yeah, we want to be playing away from home. The way
We
things
probably
are
do.
going at the
Even
moment.
though we've been okay at home, if you offer me playing home or away at the moment, I'll probably say away every time.
And as you say, the fans are probably going to turn up at Leicester because they're in the mire and they're going to need to get results. I think we spoke about it and said that Leicester had only gotten 1 point. Was it? Yeah, I think since they last played us, and that's not a great return for them. I think it probably was time. I think if you'd asked Leicester fans, probably last August was the time for Rodgers to go. Um, but I still don't believe that Brendan Rodgers is a bad manager. I just
No,
think
it's just
everything has gone
circumstance.
stale at that club. It's gone really, really stale. But bar the fans, and the fans could be the difference tomorrow. You usually come into situations like this whereby there's a toxic atmosphere, as you said, that the fans are giving out about the board, they're giving out about everything. They want wholesale changes. the fans, the board still have a lot of good credit in the bank here, and the fans aren't massively disaffected by them, but they are going to want to stay in this league. And it would be, to be honest with you, it really would be a travesty for Leicester not to get their act in order and to stay up this season, considering that only, what, 4 years ago they were champions of England?
It's
Five?
a bit more than that, I think. But
I
2015,
don't know.
2016, it was the year we went down, wasn't it? So
Yeah, you don't
2015,
count COVID
2016.
years though. The
Oh, they
COVID years
out.
don't. Yeah, you don't count those. Yeah, that's
Yeah. I mean, I was there last week doing the presser, Rogers' last presser, as I said last night. Their training ground is phenomenal. Like, it's actually ridiculous how good their training ground is. I mean, I've not been to many Premier League training grounds, but it's by far the best I've ever been to. The facilities were absolutely incredible. You know, they spent an awful lot of money on that. And in some ways, maybe that's held them back a little bit in the transfer market in recent windows. And like you say, they have perhaps gone a little more stale. And it's just that, you know, so many times we've sat here and talked about Villa and resilience. You know, one of the stats Stato's given me is no Premier League side has dropped more points from winning positions this season than Leicester. And that doesn't surprise you, really, does it? They've had problems with set pieces as well, which again is something we've lamented about Villa over the years as well. They've got a set piece coaching, and that seems to have stemmed that a little bit. But, you know, the Leicester are one of those sides at the moment when you look at all the traits of a bad team and things going wrong. You know, we've done it before with Villa. Leicester are probably at the top of most of the things that you don't want to be top for. So we've got to go there and be ruthless and take advantage. And that's what the message that Emery will be saying to the players. I do think the change of manager may help them a little bit. Not the change of manager, just it being someone else, a fresh voice may help a little bit, because we saw it under Aaron Danks temporarily in that first game at home. He just did a few little things that were different in that game, and we got off to a good start and obviously ended up hammering Brentford, but just a little change of tweaks of personnel, of players that the fans had wanted to see. That really helped. I've just got a feeling that's what Mike Stowell and Adam Sadler would do as well, because we've got Kelechi and Nacho, who the fans have been saying is their best striker and should be playing. Vardy's been out of the cold for the last few weeks as well. I've got a feeling that maybe one or both of them may play this game. Then straight away, that gives the fans something to get behind. I mean, on Garnacho, he's been directly involved in more competitive goals against Aston Villa than he has against any other side. He scored 7 and got 4 assists. So we're his favourite opponent. I'd fully expect him to play, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Vardy come in either. Do you know what I mean about just making those few changes just to galvanise the fan base a little bit, because they've both been out of the team recently.
Yeah, I think that we'll certainly see, you know, Vardy getting up there in age. I don't know whether you start, but you know, if you want to
didn't even
take
get
somebody
on the pitch at the weekend against Palace.
That's true.
Yeah, didn't
that's
even get
true.
on the pitch.
I think if you're a manager and if you want to take somebody off who only ever seems to score goals against Aston Villa and bring on somebody who only ever seems to score goals against Aston Villa now, I think taking off Iheanacho and bringing on Vardy is a good substitute to have. That the 3 guys that are going to play behind them are going to be tricky. Barnes, Madison, Tete, you know, we saw that the last day, the way they were able to pull our defense all over the place. Unai Emery will not have that issue.
We're better than that now, aren't we? We're better than that.
We're better midfield than that now, yeah.
We set up better away from home to deal with that than we did set up that day at home. I don't think we set up right that day. In fairness, you know, we'll be more compact like we were against Chelsea, like we were against Spurs, like we have been in all these other away games, looking to pick Leicester off on the break. I mean, I've got a bad stat for you if you want one. Unai Emery has lost his last 3 Premier League games against Leicester. Against no other English side has he lost more consecutive matches.
He's never won against Mike Stoll either.
Has anyone ever won against? I think he has had. I think Mike Stoll may have had a couple of games at Leicester before when they sacked Puel, because Rodgers followed Puel, if I remember. And I don't think they hired him immediately. Brendan Rodgers. My memory could be serving me completely wrong here, but that's how I remember it. Sai AVFC in the comments is saying Barnes is their danger, not James Maddison, although he was a little bit more unkind about James Maddison. I'm not going to repeat that because Maddison is a phenomenal player, but Barnes has got a decent record against us, if I recall, as well. The only thing on Maddison is they're currently managing an injury with him. It may be a big ask for him, having played on Saturday, to play on Tuesday, then play at the weekend again, but be a brave man not to play him in what could be your only game in caretaker charge. He's the captain at the moment. He's the talisman, and we've seen it with Grealish, haven't we? It's very similar vibes. Give him the captaincy. He's our best player. Let's see what he can do. He's a footballer that I just love watching, James Maddison, but the fact that he is managing this injury is not ideal for him.
Well, Dan, put up a chair, because Mike Stoll, let me talk you through his managerial career.
Let's go.
2007, he was Leicester City caretaker for 1 game. Yeah, one
Did he win?
game. He
Did he win?
lost.
Okay.
In 2010, he was Leicester City caretaker for one game, and he won. 2011, he was Leicester City caretaker for 3 games. He won one, lost two. Leicester City caretaker, joint caretaker in 2017, played 2 games, won 2 games. Leicester City joint caretaker in 2019, played 1 game and won 1 game. So, as a caretaker slash joint caretaker,
Due a
he has a
defeat, I would say.
62.5% managerial win rate.
That's a good. How did you work that maths out so fast? Or
I'm
is it in
looking
front
up
of
his
you?
Wikipedia page.
Oh, that's a great little win right there from Mike Stow, because he's a goalkeeping coach as well. It's not even like he's just a general coach, is he? Adam Wright's asking in the comments about Kamara to play. Didn't look fully fit from the off to me. V Chelsea. I think he probably was fit, because I don't think they would have started with him if there was any element of doubt over him at all. But I think he made that early tackle to try and prevent the counter attack and basically got injured. Doing that again, like I've just said about Maddison, it might be a little bit much to play him out again, even though he only played a half. Maybe we're better served just having him on the bench and easing him back in, maybe to see the game out if we are ahead. Because at the moment, McGinn, when he plays them, McGinn and Louise, they've got a good partnership going. They seem to know what they're doing, don't they?
Absolutely. Look, once again, it's options. I think as well with, that Unai Emery took off Boubacar Kamara because he was on a yellow card and got a little bit of a knock in the first 15 minutes of that game against Chelsea. Instead of letting him play the maybe 10 minutes to see if he could run it off, I think Unai just basically said, let's make the decision now. Let's change it up while I have time to talk to the team, change it up to a back five, essentially, and then let's take it on from there, as opposed to changing it midway through the second half and then potentially having somebody like Boubacar Kamara not fully fit, given Aston Villa's propensity to concede straight after half time through the years, and historically with this team, we do tend to concede around breaks and play. I think it was quite a wise decision. Kamara, I think, does start. I think he probably starts. I think it was in mind of, do we let him hobble around here for 10 minutes and maybe make it worse, or do we basically think the fact that we've got 3 games this week? If I can make this change now, I can stand behind my decision and say I did everything I could to protect our 1-0 win, our 1-0 lead. Ultimately, we were going to score a second goal, and it looks like an absolute masterstroke altogether. But I think Unai Emery is thinking in that vein, that he didn't want, after we nearly conceded just before half time, he didn't want there to be a second situation whereby we either don't get a foothold in the second half, or worse comes to worse, we concede early in the second half, and then Aston Villa are really against the back foot. He's to make a change, and then there's a little bit of discombobulation in the back line. So I think it was a very, very smart decision to do it at halftime, albeit one that we're not used to seeing. And if you go back then as well, you go back to his time in Arsenal, he had the highest amount of halftime substitutions in the Premier League that year he was with Arsenal. So he's not afraid to do it, and maybe it's something we might just need to get used to.
I don't know why I'm nodding like I knew that. Yeah, I remember that now. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Gaz Oaks has said in the comments, I mean, it's so hard to tell Villa's systems at times. It's so amazing what we do. He's saying, I still don't think it was a back five. And Emery did come out, to be fair, afterwards and say that Chambers was playing right back. But because of the way Villa do defend, Ashley Young was playing on the right.
Yeah.
But one of the wingers always drops in and makes it, and sometimes 2 wingers to make it a back six. And I think we obviously in the second half spent a lot of time doing that. So it did kind of look like it was 3 at the back, and Chambers was able to tuck in because the winger was defending so deep. But everything he does really at the moment just seems to work. And that halftime substitution is just evidence of that. It was such a clever change. It stemmed Chelsea's flow a little bit, because although they had a lot of the ball and they did have shots, I never felt massively worried that Chelsea were going to score. And the last time I felt like we weren't solid at the back actually was against Leicester.
Yeah,
I mind you, we played Man City and Arsenal as well. We let in goals that day, but Leicester, was the last time, especially being at a game live, where I felt really defensively insecure from Villa. We've come on leaps and bounds since then. We're keeping clean sheets, and you wouldn't bet against us going to Leicester and keeping a clean sheet on Tuesday night as well. It's going to be another really intriguing affair. Leicester are a side we've not got a great record against their place, I don't think, but I do really fancy us again. Nearly, it's that dangerous thing where at the moment, if you're asking me to predict scores, I'm very rarely going to predict Villa to lose at the moment, I don't think.
Yeah, my score prediction is almost an autopilot for most of these games, and it's 1-0. I
1-0.
genuinely believe we can go and win games 1-0. And I've said it before, Unai Emery is the Spanish George Graham at the moment. He knows how to set up his team, he knows how to set it up with brilliant amount of structure. He's got a striker up front that's got lots of legs and can drag players around, like Graham did with like Savine Wright. We don't have the Alan Smith to put up alongside him, the other beanpole, but the game has moved on there, and we have a midfield that's combative now. We have a midfield like you look back to the goal that the Cucurella nodded the ball on for Ollie Watkins, but you look back to where Douglas Luiz picks up that ball. He picks it up wide on the left, takes a turn around his man, brings it forward about 4 or 5 steps, and chips one over. Sees the open field in front. You look at where Douglas Luiz picks the ball up for his goal against Bournemouth. It's at that area in the field, except this time he takes it down the line, plays a ball down the line, ends up arcing his run across the field, and then ends up at the 6-yard box to take a cut back from Leon Bailey. Our midfield has gone so dynamic now that it allows us to go forward and to go back as a unit. And as I said, that's what makes us so difficult to break down. That's why I'm confident at times that we can keep scores down now. We can keep them to 0. We can keep teams to 1. That's a huge advantage to have that in the back of your mind, to know that you can do it against Chelsea, who've just spent €500 million on players. You can keep them to no score. Their manager gets sacked. I don't care. Any manager or any player in that dressing room is looking, going, we got Potter the sack there today because we beat them. And I know personally that maybe I'm a spiteful type person, but I would derive great kind of sense of pleasure from that. The fact that I would sit there and go, we played so well there in a team that we were not supposed to beat at all, that the hierarchy decided they need to make changes. And that for me would allow me to feed off the fact that our team is going well, because at the end of the day, you shouldn't really care about anybody else outside the 4 rooms of the dressing room when you're in a squad that's looking to push up the league. And if you have to leave other teams or other players or other managers behind you, you got to do it.
Yeah, let's just have a whiz through the comments before we go. So IAVFC has actually made a really valid point in the chat. He says Leicester put Kamara under pressure constantly at Villa Park 2, and that caused us a lot of problems. Hoping we've learned from that game. I do think it'll be a different game plan from Leicester. I don't think they'll come out and be intense in that process. You see Palace against Leicester at the way. I think they had 33 shots or something ridiculous. They came out and just bombarded them. You just wouldn't have expected that at all from a Roy Hodgson Crystal Palace side. I feel Leicester will be a bit conservative. I don't think they'll have that in them on Tuesday night. There was another really good comment as well, but I seem to have lost the ability to move my keyboard down. Where was it? There was a great little comment. Here we go. Mike Doty. Unai advantage of prepping for a specific manager and club will be hampered, but he will still be quick to react to what is happening on the pitch. Now, that's very, very true. I don't think Villa's on the ball and off the ball system in terms of where people are playing ever changes, but there's always subtle little tweaks to how people do things and how the team does things as well. So it will be interesting to see what he comes up with, because he won't know unless he's done a nail and gone back through and looked at Mike Styles' caretaker games in charge, which he probably has. Unai Emery has probably done that. He will have to adapt to some certain things on the fly. I think during the game, but we know he's just as good at doing that as he is he's good at being reactive as he is at being proactive. Like I said on Twitter and on the Villa View last night. So yeah, really, really interesting.
More breaking Mike Stone news. Via his Wikipedia page, he's married to Rachel. Via his Wikipedia page, he's married to Rachel MacArthur, former England Lioness, between 2002 and 2005.
Oh,
excellent. 17 caps. Yeah,
17 caps. That's a lovely little tidbit. Thought you were gonna say the breaking news that someone's just put in the chat. So I don't know. I'm just seeing it in front of me, so I don't know how reliable this news is. But Habs Rahman is an Egyptian club. ZFC joins Victoria Sport Club to partner with Villa.
I think they've been partner with Villa for a while now. Are they not this other Sawiris brothers team in Egypt? I think I'm open to correction on that, but something reminds me that we were partner with a team in Senegal, or an academy in Senegal, and there was an Egyptian team as well that was previously owned by the other Sawiris brother. And I think there was something there.
Okay,
maybe
that would make sense, wouldn't it? That would.
The under 17s are gone out there to play an international tournament.
Yeah, I saw that
at the moment.
I saw that. Let's finish with Chester Leicester, who I'm assuming is a Leicester fan. So please let us win. We need to stay up. We can't do that, I'm afraid. We've got to try and win. Chester,
Sorry.
Leicester. As much as I like Leicester, Villa need the 3 points for their European push. And like I've said, 2 games, Leicester, Forest. One, there's a good chance for Villa to push up the table. 2, they're going to have a massive say in what's going on in the bottom 9, because that bottom 9 is still absolutely incredible at the moment. Yeah. Change on a weekly basis who you think is going to get relegated. And again, I'm just so glad that we're not involved in it, because we would have been under the previous incumbent of the managerial position at Aston Villa Football Club. Neil, that does us. Thanks ever so much for joining me. And thank you to everyone that's tuned in live as well and that will go on to watch the video. If you have enjoyed the video, then give it a like and subscribe to the channel with your post notifications on so you never miss a video. We're aiming to do a post-match pint straight after the game tomorrow, and then an 1874 live on Wednesday night with Greg. Greg tells me he's got a good topic to talk about, so we'll let you know on social media what that is. So watch out for the videos coming out in the next 24 to 48 hours. Thank you very much to Adam for producing as well. Have a good rest of your Monday, and up the Villa.